Rob Pelinka downplays the possibility of another Lakers trade. At this point, neither UCLA or USC basketball is a sure thing for March Madness. The Rams are willing to help another team pay for Cooper Kupp. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is February 5th, 2025. Welcome to Ice Station Alpha here in snowy Portland. We've added a new subscriber to the Angeleno Familia yesterday, which is great. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. We'll do our best to keep you informed. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Lakers 122, Clippers 97. Can't front. Did not expect to see that kind of an ass whooping. LeBron James puts on a show with 26 points. Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves each added 20. Norman Powell led the Clippers with 20. Now, in the 6-game road trip that just finished for the Lakers, they were 5-1. They're also 10 games over 500. Damn good night. Meanwhile, UCLA 63, 9th ranked Michigan State 61. Sky Clark led with 14 points, but Eric Daly's basket with 7 seconds to go proved to be the winning margin. Northwestern 77, USC 75. You know, the Trojans, they were thinking about sliding into the March Madness the same way many of us try to slide into a girl's DMs. So this loss is a bit of a rug pull. Clark Slatchert scored 24 for the Trojans. Meanwhile, today, Montreal's in town to play the Kings at 7:30. Mikey Anderson is day-to-day with a finger injury. And let's get to the news. The Scribes ignored the story at yesterday's Lakers introductory press conference for Luka Doncic. You know, there's a funny thing about the Scribes, having been one. You have a scribe that's supposed to cover a storied franchise. Storied. And the Scribes want so bad to contribute to the story of a storied franchise. And as a result, they look to every Lakers move as if there's subtext, a plot twist. No matter how insignificant the roster move is, they're going to hype it as if the general manager were not Rob Pelinka, but J.D. Salinger. Oh, the subtext. Oh, the subtext. No, the Lakers aren't owned by the Buss family. They're owned by a family that was birthed by Toni Morrison and Fyodor Dostoevsky. Oh, the master strokes in the subplots. It's as if LeBron James isn't simply King James, but a literary Christ figure. And it's also tiresome. Every single move pulled apart like that, like there's something underneath. I bring this up because the early takeaways from the press conference, from our crabby, rotund wordsmiths in sports journalism, included the following takes. Is this LeBron James's team or Luka Doncic? What are we to make that James didn't even show up to the press conference? Was this like Christ descending into hell after Good Friday prior to LeBron's resurrection over at Intuit Arena? What are we to deduce that Rob Pelinka didn't mention King James once in his comments? Is the king dead? Long live the king? That's how much manufactured, pointless drama the Scribes created, at a minimum. And they were so busy trying to create stories that weren't there. The one true piece of news that came out, the Scribes completely glossed over it. Barely bothered to mention it. And the point is that Rob Pelinka said it's, quote, probably more realistic, unquote, that the Lakers will land a center in the offseason rather than by tomorrow's trade deadline. That's the actual news, guys. Quote, there's just not a lot available. Maybe we'll be able to do some stuff around the margins, unquote. Completely ignored it. They'd rather talk about palace intrigue, the alleged plot twist that ain't a-happening. Now, I admit Pelinka's quote could be a GM not wanting to tip his hand just at the trade deadline. But we went over what the Lakers have to offer yesterday. They don't have that many tradable assets for a difference maker. We discussed it at length. If they wind up making a trade, still possible, but if they wind up making a trade, it's going to be a combination of Rui Hachimura and or Gabe Vincent plus Dalton Connect and either the 2031 first round pick or 2 second rounders, a combination of the three. That's just not a lot, guys. So what it does mean, in my opinion, is the Lakers are looking at Doncic as the face of the franchise for the next decade, and that means the right move will kick open another championship window. So they have to be patient for the right move. This is no longer about ceding to every one of LeBron James's wishes. But we don't have to start debating about whether it's LeBron's or Luka's team. We don't have to assume that there's drama on the horizon because Rob Pelinka did not mention LeBron James in his comments. I mentioned a few minutes ago that I'm a former newspaper reporter. Longtime watchers of this program knows that. And part of the reason that this show exists is to expose what a quirky, shallow industry sports journalism really is. We've become obsessed with minutia, even in the sports department. Ask yourself, why is Mel Kiper a household name when he never played or coached football? It's because he became obsessed with minutia. He invented the term mock draft. And that's not to clown Mel Kiper for creating a job for himself. For example, a really good friend of mine parlayed an interest in fantasy football into a regular gig at the NFL Network. So, what am I getting at? In college basketball, media outlets needed some joker who fancies himself as an expert as to how the college basketball playoffs will be shaken out. And because of that, you get the job bracketologist. Bracketologist. Like he's a doctor, putting the legs of the NCAA tournament committee in the stirrups, grabbing a speculum and taking a deep, uncomfortable look into the cervix of college basketball. Bracketology. So, you might be saying, well, what is the result of the pap smear on both UCLA and USC hoops? According to ESPN, four Big Ten teams are locks, but not the Bruins or the Trojans. UCLA has at least an 86% shot of getting in after riding the ship from that 4-game losing streak. And kudos to them. USC, on the other hand, has just a 21% chance. The scribe thinks their current form, which was before last night's loss, is too little, too late. The NFL Network reports the Rams are willing to retain some of Cooper Kupp's salary in order to facilitate a trade. Quote, potentially paying down the $7.5 million signing bonus, which a lot of that is fully guaranteed for Kupp, unquote. Now, for his part, Kupp says he's healthy as ever. We'll see if either of that means a difference in terms of the trade market. Don't expect too much. You're not going to get like a second rounder at this stage of his career. The Dodgers have traded reliever Ryan Brazier to the Cubs for either a player to be named later or cash. Brazier became expendable after the Dodgers acquired like everybody with an arm. Kirby Yates, Tanner Scott, they re-signed Blake Trinan. You read every so often about how the Dodgers are geniuses at revitalizing a pitcher's career. Brazier's a case study in that. He was cut by the Red Sox in 2023 because his ERA was over 7. The Dodgers picked him up. They adjusted his rotation. They adjusted his pitching motion. Voila. He becomes lights out again. The Dodgers also finalized the coaching staff. Roles are changing. For longtime coach Dino Ebel, he's still the third base coach, but he's also going to help the outfielders. Chris Woodward, a former Dodger coach who briefly took the managing gig over in Texas, he returns as the first base coach. Brandon McDaniel takes on some make-work job. Integration coach. Okay. The bottom line is this. The Dodgers have 8 coaches under contract and a manager in the final year of his, so you might want to think about that guy. Dave Roberts, remember him? USC football has landed a late commitment to the 2025 recruiting class. Defensive end Jaden Ramos of Texas. Ramos finished his senior season in high school with 73 tackles, including 18 sacks, 36.5 tackles for loss. He generated 32 quarterback pressures, forced 4 fumbles. Now look, that's a lot of really good data. But I don't want to play up this edition too much. He's still just going to be a freshman. But even as a freshman, he's going to have a chance to make a difference. If you recall, USC football had absolutely no pass rush last year. Angel City FC has only just begun to rebuild its roster. One can only hope, considering they've missed the NWSL playoffs in 2 of the last 3 years of existence. I mean, yeah, maybe not bringing the entire band back together is a good idea. The thing to appreciate about the moves that they're making, most of the newer players are on defense, and that matters. Angel City conceded the second most goals in the NWSL last year. So they have added Savvy King in a trade with Bay City FC, our villainous neighbors to the poop-covered north. They're going to get cap space in return. Now, King played 20 games last year for Bay FC, which did reach the playoffs. The team is also going to get super duper young. Angel City actually has 4 teenagers on the roster, which I'm sure is exciting to all the creepos across the Southland. If you have a white van, don't bring it to BMO Stadium, please. Guard Zia, or as I should say, Zaya Cook, was waived by the Sparks. She averaged fewer than 4 points in 9 minutes per game. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Are you into the palace intrigue with the Lakers? Or are you just like, dude, can we just watch Luka Doncic play? For that matter, are you even remotely confident about USC basketball or think UCLA basketball is a sure thing for March Madness? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports here every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.